I'm Kevin McDowell.
And I'm Joan Steffen. Coming up tonight on News 11, a St. Paul police prostitution investigation uncovers more trouble for a state lawmaker.
2 Minneapolis gang members are shot when a neighborhood erupts in gunfire.
Racist remarks turn Jimmy the Greek to Jimmy the unemployed.
And guess what? Vikings fans are ready for a win.
And News 11 is next.
Ciao.
¿Cómo estás?
Howdy.
At Hardee's, we brought in experts to see if the new international toppings made our quarter-pound burger even better. The Italian, mozzarella and pizza sauce. The Mexican, chili, onions and cheese. The American, cheese and tender ham. They were a huge success in any language.
Caramba! Oh, no.
Now this is a burger.
Hardee's, let us win you over, too.
I went to the doctor for a routine physical and was told after everything was over that everything was fine except for this lump that he'd found in my breast. Sure enough, it was what I feared. And went into the hospital a couple days later and had a mastectomy. If someone had told me when I was starting the chemotherapy and starting, going through this whole thing, that I would do it and I would make it, I never would have believed it. There's so much of life for me, and there still is. I just have a lot of things to do yet. I did what I wasn't supposed to do. I lived, and I'm healthy, and it was a great feeling. And it's still a great feeling.
Now, the Twin Cities' fastest growing television news. News 11. With Joan Steffen, Kevin McDowell, Randy Shaver on sports, and meteorologist Dennis Belkin.
Good evening, everybody. Topping tonight's News 11, the NFC Championship game is just 13 hours away.
And this time tomorrow night, Minnesota may be the home of the best team in the NFC.
Fans in Washington, D.C. and here in the Twin Cities are already gearing up for the game. In Richfield, Champs Bar is packed with purple already. Fans are gathering for their own pep rallies tonight. And the celebrations won't end until we know who it'll be for the NFC Championship. And at the Metrodome, fans bought up purple shirts, pennants, and mugs at a fast clip today. So many fans stopped by the souvenir shop, they sold out of touchdown towels yesterday. Tomorrow, there will be thousands of fans dressed to defeat the Redskins. And in St. Louis Park, folks are planning parties for the Vikes with plenty of food. Deli trays are popular items at Byerly's. Popcorn and chips are going fast, too. And liquid refreshment was also going fast for the big game tomorrow. MGM Liquors in Brooklyn Park was doing business just like the days when the boys of summer were on top, not that long ago.
Not at all. Meanwhile, the Vikings 0 hour is fast approaching in Washington, D.C.
Tom Reither's in the nation's capital. He joins us now live from our Washington bureau. Tommy.
Well, Joan and Kevin, the Vikings hit town last night, as we've been talking about. I've been with the team since Tuesday. We all went down to Tampa together. The mood is good. In fact, if anything concerns me, really the Vikings seem almost unaffected by all of this. They're very calm. The workouts have gone very smoothly. Nobody looks tense, but that'll probably change tomorrow. But these really are exciting times here in the nation's capital. And in this sea of maroon, home of the Redskins, believe it or not, you can actually find some purple if you look hard enough. Now, our Mike Igo spent the day with some Vikings fans who really qualify as diehards.
It's a day off before the big game for Viking fans Jim, Ann, and Dan Murphy. Today, a little shopping in Georgetown for the family. For Jim, the pleasures of a shoe shine.
Give me a little better shine, but charge a little extra just because I'm a Vikings fan.
You sold all your Viking sweatshirts out?
For Dan, disappointment. The souvenir shop doesn't have a Viking sweatshirt. But Ann is able to find things to her liking. Now, this is a relaxed pace for this family because they've been driving around the country following the Vikings since the New Orleans victory.
And we got excited again and drove across the southern part of the United States and up the California coast to San Francisco. Stopped in Tucson, Arizona to watch the team practice on the way. and then watched the 49ers get defeated out in Candlestick Park.
This stop is part of 4,000 car miles they've traveled. That's right, 4,000. And they're ready to keep on moving.
We are really anxious to go on to San Diego. That's our ultimate goal, is to get there.
So obviously these Viking diehards believe their pilgrimage won't end tomorrow. This is Mike Igo, Action 11 in Washington.
Now, our Asha Blake has a knack for finding Vikings fans all over the Twin Cities area. In fact, tonight she's with a group of very happy people at Champs Sports Bar in Richfield. Asha, how you doing?
Tom, it is a madhouse out here, as you can possibly imagine. We've got purple and gold, we've got fans, we've got crazy fans, and one of the greatest ones right here. How do you think the Vikings are going to do?
They're going to beat the Washington Redskins.
By how much?
I'd say by 3 points in overtime.
Oh, yeah? So what do you think about all these fans here? Just like twins, huh?
You bet. This is great. This is the best atmosphere. The Vikings we have the best fans in the world. We're number one.
Well, you heard it here first, Tom. And I'll tell you, this is one party that's going to continue for a long, long time. Back to you.
All right, Ashley, let's hope that the party continues through, let's say, well into tomorrow afternoon. Then there would be very good cause for that. And I'm sure you know by now, on a very serious note, that CBS Sports has dropped oddsmaker Jimmy the Greek from tomorrow's CBS telecast of the game in Washington. He was fired today by CBS Sports for racist remarks he made about black athletes a couple of days ago right here in a Washington restaurant. Now, today at RFK Stadium, that subject kept popping up. The CBS television crew was going through some final technical touches today at RFK Stadium in the chilly 34-degree temperature. The crew told us immediately that Jimmy the Greek was no longer a part of CBS Sports and obviously not a part of tomorrow's telecast. Veteran CBS Sports anchor Brent Musburger told me that he talked with Jimmy the Greek today, and he says the Greek is depressed, and that's putting it lightly. Play-by-play veteran Pat Summerall says the whole episode is a shock for everybody. And then there is analyst John Madden, who usually has a lot to say. But today, he was saying nothing about Jimmy the Greek. Well, a little bit later on in our program during sports, John Madden will talk as he talks about the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Joan and Kevin, the crew here is ready. We have about 20 people covering this extravaganza, headed up by our Paul Majors. Jeff Passold is here. Mike Igo, Steve Carroll is in Denver covering that game. And so it's time to get on with football. It's time for the talking to stop. And a reminder, a little bit later on, we will have a report on how things went today at RFK Stadium. The Vikings came out kind of chilly here, but we'll tell you about that a little bit later on.
And keep it in mind, you guys are in charge of cheering for us because we can't be there.
We'll be there, and we will be cheering. Okay. Who cares? We'll be cheering for the Vikings.
No kidding. Thanks Tommy.
Okay. All right.
A couple of reminders tonight. At the end of this show, we'll see who won that Dial-It poll, the fans' choice to win the Super Bowl we showed you during the Super Bowl special.
And this note, Jukebox Saturday night will host a special Vikings rally at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Also, News 11 will air a special one-hour newscast following the AFC Championship game tomorrow.
In other news, more trouble tonight for State Representative Kenneth Clute. Now, Clute is being investigated on more prostitution-related charges. St. Paul Police Chief William McCutcheon told News 11 his department has uncovered more information about Clute's involvement in prostitution and is asking for more charges. And you may recall the Moorhead representative was put on probation for offering money for sex to a police decoy. Clute was already announced that he will not seek re-election. The new information stems from a juvenile prostitution investigation into a St. Paul nightclub owner. Now, Kenneth Clute was reached tonight by a station in Fargo. He denies all those allegations. And St. Paul police tonight are looking for a man who may have been kidnapped by his own son. Theodore Murr has been missing since yesterday. Police think that he may have been taken by his son. Authorities say there are signs of foul play. The two may be on their way right now to California.
Pedro Ramos has been laid to rest tonight. Friends and family tried to hold back the tears as Ramos was brought out of the Pilgrim Baptist Church. Ramos died last week after a brutal beating in the halls of North High School the week before. Two members of a Minneapolis gang are in satisfactory condition tonight after a shooting. News 11's Dennis Stauffer reports what happened early this morning when a South Minneapolis neighborhood erupted in gunfire.
Minneapolis police were called to 3323 Portland Avenue shortly after 2 o'clock this morning. When they got there, they found two 20-year-old men who had been shot following a party near that address. Neighbors heard the gunfire.
The shots woke me up. There's 4 or 5 shots, then it stopped, and I heard some hollering, and some more shots. Altogether, it must have been a dozen shots. And there was one man laying on the sidewalk, and they come out. That's about all I can say now.
Police say the victims are members of the Disciples gang, and the two aren't saying much. One youth was questioned at the scene, and police are looking for a car they think was involved in the shooting, but they say they're not on the verge of making arrests. Today, a friend of one of the victims said several people were involved.
And then we was up in the window, and we just saw people coming from outside of the house shooting them. And then another one, his friends came to help him up as he was crossing the street, and then that's when the police came.
Teenagers here say this neighborhood near Central High School is considered the territory of the gang, the Blood. Police say they don't know whether whoever attacked the two men this morning were also members of a gang, but they do think they know who owns the car they're looking for, and they have more people they want to question. Dennis Stauffer, News 11, Minneapolis.
And police have not released the names of the two victims or disclosed exactly what injuries the two suffered.
A fire that caused a blackout in downtown St. Paul remains under investigation tonight. Smoke poured from an underground tunnel at 8th Street in St. Paul. A circuit breaker went up in smoke, causing the power outage, which lasted about an hour. NSP crews will look into the cause of that blaze a little later on. A 10-year-old girl left alone in a St. Paul apartment escaped serious injury after a fire there overnight. Firefighters quickly put out the blaze. It started in the basement. The girl was treated and released. Officials estimate damage at $25,000.
A civil rights tradition that started 3 years ago continues in Georgia. 200 civil rights activists marched for peace in Forsyth County, Georgia today. There were more than twice that number of law enforcement officers to keep counter-protesters away. No one was arrested in that march. And the memory of civil rights leader Martin Luther King is alive in the Twin Cities tonight. Hundreds of people gathered in Northrop Auditorium to remember the slain leader. They honored him with rap music. Monday is a national holiday in many states, including Minnesota. Federal and state officials or state offices will be closed.
And coming up later tonight on News 11, we'll see how the Twin Cities spent a day in the January thaw.
And later in sports, more on the Vikings' quest for the Super Bowl.
Operator, I've been calling this number. I gotta have delivery today.
A cruise on Norwegian Cruise Line can do wonders for your memory. You forget just about everything. Norwegian Cruise Line, the world's best way to disconnect the world.
One thing about pre-emergence herbicides, you need a timely rain to make them work. New Tandem changes that. Instead of watching for rain, you watch weeds die. Tandem post-emergence herbicide doesn't need rain for activation. It goes to work the day you apply it. In one pass, a Tandem tank mix combination cleans out over 30 grasses and broadleaf weeds all season long. Don't let pre-emergence herbicides leave you in the dust. Try New Tandem, then stand back and watch weeds die.
Plywood, Minnesota is having a housewarming sale.
You betcha, Dan. Warm up your house by remodeling the bath. Plywood, Minnesota has Kincaid shower doors, sale price from $39.
Buy a vanity and marble top and the peerless faucet is free. Warm up the bath with a lime shower base, just $59.
Even Kohler name brand fixtures are on sale.
Remodeling the bath is easy during Plywood, Minnesota's housewarming sale.
Don't forget Plywood, Minnesota installs direct from the factory to you.
You're longing for the days of summer and a delicious flame-broiled hamburger.
I'll be right back.
Well, even though the snow is snowing and the wind is blowing, you can still get that taste of summer at Burger King. Juicy, delicious flame-broiled hamburgers. And this week, double cheeseburgers are only 99 cents. If you're ready to brave the elements, the least we can do is make it worth your while. Double cheeseburgers, 99 cents this week at Burger King.
A fire in a grain elevator has claimed the lives of 3 men in Kentucky. Rescue crews took away the bodies of the victims in Henderson, Kentucky. All that remains of the soybean and corn elevators they were working in is broken concrete. Authorities believe static electricity may have ignited dust and caused that fire Friday.
In Nicaragua, President Daniel Ortega has agreed to direct ceasefire talks with the U.S.-backed Contra rebels. The surprise announcement came at the end of talks between political leaders from Central America, which is taking place in Costa Rica. And Republican politics in the U.S. is heating up again. Allegations of forged signatures have forced presidential hopeful Pete DuPont out of the race. Meanwhile, the Republican candidates debating in New Hampshire threw barbs at Vice President George Bush. They accuse him of taking credit where credit isn't due. Credit is due to Dennis for this weather.
Sure.
Gorgeous. The forecast was right on.
In the bad, in the good, we'll take the credit. You can put away the heavy gloves for another day. You can put away the wool scarf for another day. Don't put them too far away. You will still need them. This is mid-January, but hey, you won't need them tomorrow. For those of us who are growing tired of the depths of winter, today's balmy weather was just the ticket. It hasn't been this warm since December 11th, 5 weeks ago. Many folks were lured outside for a refresher course in spring-like weather. Sure made the walk around the lake more enjoyable. And snow and ice even melted off to prove there really are sidewalks around. You know, statistically, the January thaw is most common from the 20th to the 23rd, especially in the northeast states, and it's the result of a large area of high pressure off the eastern coastline. It sure did it for us today, and it will do it for the NFC Championship game between the Vikes and Redskins tomorrow. Game time temperature near 50, breezy, mostly sunny skies. It'll be a little different story in Denver between the Broncos and the Browns for the AFC Championship. Cloudy skies expected there with a game time temperature of about 40. Still not bad for the middle of January. What did we do today? Well, we just stopped at 39 degrees, which is the normal high for early March. The overnight low is 32. 32? Normal low is 1. No snowfall for today. Right now, we are clear at 10 o'clock and 33 degrees. The wind is west at 5. We're not going to bother with a wind chill. How about the dew point? It's at 30. Humidity is 89%. Pressure's rising at 29.79 inches. High temperatures today show a lot of unusually warm air spreading up well into the midsection of the country. 50 degrees as close to us as Des Moines and Chicago and Cincinnati. 40-degree air in southern Minnesota. It was 42 in St. Cloud this afternoon. Not a record, but pretty darn nice. Here's the air mass which is doing it. The area of high pressure right on the eastern coastline, and by definition, that's the January thaw maker bringing up the southerly flow of air out of the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of rain moving with it too, but that's going to slide off to the east because a cool front is pushing it that way. Notice I said cool front and not cold front. The air behind this is of Pacific origin, so things are going to remain kind of mild for at least the next day or so. We shouldn't have any problem getting into the mid-30s tomorrow, and probably some more sunshine too. Here's the latest view from space, and lots of clear air in the Dakotas and across Minnesota. Still clouds over in Wisconsin, and a lot of high clouds streaming up, and they'll continue to nick the southeastern corner of the state later tonight and tomorrow. Here's the view from coast to coast, and there's a developing storm slamming in across the Pacific coastline. Up to 2 feet of snow on some of the mountains in Nevada and Utah with 70-mile-per-hour winds in some of the peaks. Where's it going to go, you ask? Well, the computers think it will track well to our south and east, and if that happens, we will have a miss from this snowstorm. At worst, flurries or light snow. For tomorrow, just a nick of some clouds, temperatures again in the 30s, at least one more day of early spring-like weather. Forecast details are coming up in just a moment.
I feel like it's this big, like a big tomato. I've got a sore nose.
It's just the rubbing and the dripping and the sneezing and the wiping and the rubbing and the dripping and the sneezing and the wiping.
Introducing first aid for your nose when it's sore from too much blowing. New Puffs Plus.
Feels like there may be something in there.
There's lotion. I feel it on my fingers.
No. A lotion.
Oh, yeah, I could hold this right here all day. I want to know how they got it on here.
It's the first tissue with moisturizing lotion. New Puffs Plus.
Well, it saved my nose.
Puffs Plus is much less irritating than my tissue.
I've never had an experience where you blow your nose and it feels so good.
New Puffs Plus. First aid for your sore nose.
I got my old nose back. I'm happy.
Now at best, a new dimension of sight and sound. Scotch EG all-purpose video cassettes in the convenient 3-pack. On sale for $10.79 plus a $1.80 rebate. And the Scotch XS2 audio cassette for people who take music to excess.
Available in the 90-minute 5-pack with free storage case. Just $7.99 plus a $1.25 rebate. Available now at best catalog stores.
You know, in a couple of months, the air we have right now is going to feel downright cold. Tonight feels pretty good, thank you. Temperatures late this evening were generally in the mid-30s across the region. The warm spot, Milwaukee at 40. Alexandria, the cool spot, at 21. Forecast details for tonight, it'll be a partly cloudy night. Mild, 23 to 27 for lows. For tomorrow, variable cloudiness, still unusually mild with highs of 32 to 36 with a light northeast wind. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, lows of 15 to 20, and Monday some clouds roll in, but highs still 29 to 32. Here's the 11 outlook for Tuesday through Thursday. Flurries or light snow on Tuesday and Wednesday as the big storm passes well to our south and east with lows in the teens and highs in the 20s. Thursday will be partly cloudy and a little cooler, but still seasonable.
What are we looking at? Was that the Gopher game? What the heck is that?
I was looking at the forecast.
That's what I was looking at.
All right,
How are you watching?
Still here tonight on News 11, we'll find out where the world's worst weather is.
And a little later, we'll tell you who fans have picked for the Super Bowl.
Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey Redskins, goodbye. Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey Redskins, goodbye. Na 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 na.
See Art Goebel Ford, your Hall of Fame dealer in Coon Rapids, for special Ford rebate option packages on 1988 Ford cars and trucks. Check these deals. $400 rebates on 88 Escorts. $600 rebates on 88 Tauruses and Thunderbirds. Special option packages with additional savings. 6-year, 60,000-mile warranties on every Ford car and light-duty truck. Over $5.5 million in new Ford car and truck inventory. And less hassle all the time. See Art Goebel Ford, Coon Rapids.
Iams Cat Food asks, what would happen if cats ran the world? People would average 67 naps a day. Chasing balls of yarn would replace baseball as the great American pastime. And people would have to buy their cats Iams cat food, sold only at pet stores. Because the nutrition in Iams makes a healthy difference you can see and your cat can feel. Iams, special pet foods found only at special stores.
I know, off the couch.
This typewriter and I have been through a lot of deadlines together. Kind of shows, too. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's kind of like my Yellow Pages, U.S. West Direct. I've got some other directories around here, but none of them have as much information as this book right here. You can tell by my doodling. It's the one that I use. I couldn't write a better book myself.
U.S. West Direct, the one that gets used.
The Winter Carnival's Fire and Ice Volcano is taking shape tonight. Volunteers are working hard to get it finished, and the blocks of ice also that will be transformed into snow sculptures. They can always use more help, though. All you have to do is show up at Harriet Island, and they'll put you to work.
A major thaw in the Twin Cities. Above freezing temperatures sent folks out to enjoy the warm weather. At Normandale Lake Park Preserve, the warmth was perfect for pups and people. We haven't been above the freezing mark since December 30th. And skiers at Highland Hills took advantage of the warm weather for a freestyle competition. Competitors are also free today from all the gear they've had to wear because of the cold temperatures.
Well, today's January thaw gave most of us a chance to forget about the winter for a while, but in tonight's Weather Minute, meteorologist Dennis Felkin tells us about one place that never gets a good thaw.
There are higher mountains in the United States, but New Hampshire's Mount Washington has claimed more lives than any other mountain in North America. The weather is that unpredictable. Local residents boast it has the world's worst weather on that mountain, but it also holds some of the world's wind records, too. There is a weather observatory on the summit and has been for 56 years. In 1934, scientists recorded a wind gust of 231 miles per hour, still a world record. And in 1980, the wind blew at 145 miles per hour for 3 hours straight, also a world record. Wind chills are so cold they go off the scale. Mount Washington is over 6,000 feet high and is a perfect place to observe extremes in weather conditions. It acts as a barrier to winds that race across the continent. This wind is lifted and compressed, forcing it to move faster, just like putting a sprinkler on a garden hose, making the water come out faster. The rising wind produces clouds of moisture that freezes when it hits rocks, towers, or anything solid, forming rime ice. tiny daggers that face into the wind. Instruments often freeze up, and the meteorologist has to go out into the elements and manually de-ice them, hanging on so as not to be blown away. A Midwest winter can be very difficult at times, but it pales to Mount Washington, home of the world's worst weather. Dennis Feltgen, News 11.
We have next on News 11 Sports, highlights from not one, not two, not three, but all four. 4 games around the Big Ten of the nation.
Wow. Also, Randy Shaver tells us what it'll take for the Vikings to win when we come right back.
January is fur clearance time at Alaskan Fur. Every fur is reduced even lower than our everyday low prices. Fur jackets, strollers, and coats in mink, fox, beaver, sable, and many more are waiting for you. Our designer names like Oscar de la Renta, Adolfo, and Christian Dior, and many more are January priced to sell now. Hurry in. It's not too late to find the fur of your dreams at a January clearance price.
Alaskan fur, Alaskan fur.
When you apply Lorsban 15G rootworm insecticide in front of the covering wheel, you get a band of protection shaped like a T. T-band with Lorsban 15G. You get banded and in-furrow protection from the surface for cutworms to the root zone for rootworms. T-band with seed-safe Lorsban 15G. In conservation or conventional tillage, it's the best way yet to control rootworms, cutworms, wireworms, grubs, and seed corn maggots too. T-band with Lorsban 15G. For corn security.
The incredible new Caramello. To fully enjoy every drop, one must lean back. For under all that creamy milk chocolate lies a luscious center of soft, flowing caramel. And if you're not careful, you may miss some. The incredible new Caramello. Lean back and enjoy.
Answer Downtown Pontiac presents the 1988 6000 DTE and the 1988 Grand Am DTE, the Downtown Editions. Both feature European luggage racks, DTE trim, custom alloy wheels, now at a special downtown price. The 6000 DTE, $10,380. The Grand Am DTE, $9,780. Only at Hansard Pontiac in the heart of downtown Minneapolis.
The Twin Cities have a new friend. A friend that brings much-needed help to the hardest working member of your family, your car. The friend is FINA, where you'll find the kind of quality gasoline and automotive products that your hard-working car needs. So now that you've found a new friend for your car, all you have to do is find your car.
At FINA, you got a friend. Frosty the Snowman is getting some competition tonight in Golden Valley. A snowman that looks a lot like a Vikings player is getting a lot of attention in Golden Valley. The Vikings has his own copy of Sports Illustrated, and he's got a green football.
Randy Shaver believes that the Vikings are going to win tomorrow, and this is a hognose. If he is wrong,
what is the relationship?
he will have to wear this hognose on the 10 p.m. news tomorrow night.
They will not lose tomorrow.
We will not see this on Randy Shaver.
We will not see that on my snout.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, let's hope not. The Vikings practice for the first and last time in Washington, D.C. today before tomorrow's championship game. Our Tom Ryder was there, and he has more.
It was a bit on the cold side today at RFK Stadium in Washington with a 34-degree temperature. But there is promise of a 45-degree day tomorrow for the big game, and that's what counts. We found some of the RFK ground crews chipping away some ice and snow, and boy, did that remind us of the old Met Stadium in Bloomington. Now, the playing surface itself is in excellent condition, and that comes to us from the Vikings groundskeeper, Sam Monson. Now, this was supposed to be a closed practice, but the Vikings hit the field. They were relaxed. Things were going kind of smoothly, and the cameras were allowed to stay. Running back Darren Nelson did not dress out today, but he indicated to me he's feeling a bit better from the effects of the virus, and don't worry about it, he will play tomorrow. So what about the Vikings? I asked CBS television analyst John Madden if he is surprised they have made it this far.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I knew they were a good team, and I thought they were a team that should be in the playoffs, was a playoff-type team, and I'll be honest, I didn't think they'd be in a championship game. I don't know that I thought the Redskins would be in a championship game either.
So the time for talking is all over. The practicing is finished, and the big game is tomorrow. With the Minnesota Vikings in Washington, D.C., this is Tom Ryder for News 11 Sports.
You may agree or disagree on this, but I think there are three keys to a Viking victory tomorrow. One is to involve Anthony Carter in the offense as much as possible. Number two is to stay in Doug Williams' face all day so he can't find an open Washington receiver. And the third thing is the Vikings need another perfect day from Chuck Nelson and the special teams, plus obviously minimize the mistakes. Game time, 11:30 tomorrow morning. And don't forget the AFC Championship game, Cleveland at Denver, right here on Channel 11 at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That's going to be a great game to watch as well. Well, the Gopher basketball team hosted 8th-ranked Purdue tonight. Todd Mitchell led the Boilermakers with 29 points. Purdue ran off a 19-2 streak near the end of the first half. But give the Gophers credit. They fought back in the second half. Willie Burton's bucket cut the lead to 1, but the Gophers come up short. 82-74 the final. The Gophers lose. They've lost 18 straight Big Ten games. Meanwhile, there was a real barn burner in East Lansing, Michigan tonight. Indiana leading 66-63, but Michigan State ties it with a three-pointer, 11 seconds to go by Ed Wright in overtime. State center George Papadakis hits a hook shot with 10 seconds to go, but Michigan State up by a point. Indiana had one more chance to win it, but Rick Calloway's jumper comes up short, and the Hoosiers get beat tonight in East Lansing, 75-74 the final. In Iowa City tonight, Iowa ran off 19 straight second-half points to beat Northwestern. Jeff Moe off the bench with a three-pointer. He led the Hawks with 19 points. Iowa wins 92-68 over Northwestern. At Madison this afternoon, Illinois defeated the Badgers despite Trent Jackson's long-range three-pointers. The Fighting Illini beat Wisconsin 80-65 as Glenn Blackwell leads Illinois with 16 points. The Badgers fall to 2-2 in the Big Ten. Illinois is 3-1. Top 10 scores: Arizona over Oregon. North Carolina wins tonight. Oklahoma was upset by Kansas State. Temple over St. Bonaventure. Kentucky a winner. Duke was upset. Pittsburgh over Villanova, and Syracuse knocked off by Connecticut. Guess what? The North Stars won a game at home, no less. And they even beat Detroit, and we've got the highlights to prove it. Dave Archibald scored this goal to give the North Stars a 3-1 lead over Detroit tonight. It proved to be the game winner. The Stars in an 8-game winless streak. We go to the scoreboard, 4-2 the final from the Met Center. The North Stars defeat Detroit. Pittsburgh over Toronto tonight. St. Louis beat Washington. Quebec 4-1. Cam Neely the hat trick for Boston. The Islanders over New Jersey. Montreal 4-3. In L.A. leading in the first. The Gopher hockey team even won tonight. They beat Lowell University 8-4. In high school hockey, everyone wants a shot at #1 ranked Jefferson, and tonight it was Armstrong's turn. They hosted the unbeaten Jaguars at New Hope Arena. Jefferson jumped out in front 2-zip. Jeff Satterdahl in the goal in front. But Armstrong comes back. #9, Ed Kirchhoff, in front of the net, will score to cut the lead to 2-1. And guess what? Armstrong upset Jefferson tonight. Final score was 6-5. Jefferson's first loss on the hockey season.
Okay. Thank you, Randy. When we come back, we'll find out if Minnesota Vikings really are America's team.
And we'll take a look at what got the Vikings this far.
Good morning.
The day's looking new and bright.
It's Monday again.
And you're gonna start it right.
Traffic's tied up.
'Cause there's Folgers for you that's decaffeinated too. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
A decaffeinated? And I'm waking up?
Nothing brightens your morning like Mountain-grown Folgers decaffeinated. Mountain-grown coffee beans have more enticing aroma and richer flavor than any other kind.
Folgers so rich and good, the day starts like it should.
You know something? It's starting to look a lot better out there.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Decaffeinated. I can't describe how bad it feels.
I feel like it's this big.
Like a big tomato.
I've got a sore nose.
It's just the rubbing and the dripping and the sneezing and the wiping and the rubbing and the dripping and the sneezing and the wiping.
Introducing First Aid for your nose when it's sore from too much blowing. New Puffs Plus.
Feels like there may be something in there.
There's lotion. I feel it on my fingers.
No. A lotion.
Oh, yeah, I could hold this right here all day.
I want to know how they got it on here.
It's the first tissue with moisturizing lotion. New Puffs Plus.
Well, it saved my nose. Puffs Plus is much less irritating than my tissue.
I've never had an experience where you blow your nose and it feels so good.
New Puffs Plus. First aid for your sore nose.
I got my old nose back. I'm happy.
It fits your needs so well you probably don't even think about it. It's so dependable and such a reasonable value, you might not give it a second thought. Yet when all is said and done, it's hard to imagine ever doing business without it. Long distance from Northwestern Bell, a U.S. West company. There's no better way to cover the distance.
Hi. Well, the results are in, and the fans have made their choice.
That's right. Here's the results of that telephone poll of all 4 playoff cities. And your votes. The Browns were in first place to win the Super Bowl, 36%. Broncos, 33% in second place. Redskins, 17% third place. And the Vikings, fourth place, 14%.
But we don't believe that.
Finally tonight, when the odds makers said it couldn't be done, the Vikings proved otherwise.
Tonight we leave you with a few of the doubters and the team that's making believers out of all of us. Here's how editor Brian Augustine sees it.
See you tomorrow.